Everyone, please join me in welcoming Dr. Miriam Adelson to the stage.
I cannot see you, but I saw you earlier. Thank you for Queen Esther. It reminds me something from my childhood. You know, in Israel, in Purim, all the girls wanted to be Queen Esther. It's so beautiful, nice dress and a crown. And at that time, it was the beginning of Israel, and everybody was short of money. I remember we were giving quarter of package of butter. Everything was limited. So my mother didn't have a costume, couldn't buy me a costume, and she put me as a boy. She took my brother's pants and the shirt, and it was if I remember something bad about my mother, because she was an amazing mother, but this I don't forget. I was like 3 years old, and I'm wearing a pants of my brother, a shirt of my brother. I had older brother, Zichrono Levracha. So when he said Queen Esther, it reminded me my dreams to be Queen Esther. And thank you, Sunny, for fulfilling my dream. And something else, as you see, Purim is coming, so I am Miss Orangey. So I put a costume. Yeah, here. Like I did in the last event in Miami. I was orange too. And I hope in the next event or next event, all the room would be orange, right? And another thing I want to tell you, probably most of you know I'm a physician, I am MD. And I used to work at least 5 years in ER. And in ER, so many times at that time, I was so upset. I said, why, when this guy got heart attack, why nobody knew how to do CPR and save their life? I remember I saved the life of my next door neighbor. I just went up, did CPR, and the ambulance came after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, though we were very close to the hospital. And thank God, he got more 7 years, got 3 grandchildren meanwhile. His name was Mr. Rubin. And then one day I was in the ER and Mr. Rubin arrived. He was in the barber shop, and what happened? Nobody knew how to do CPR in the shop. And he came here, he's already died. And I always was so upset with the ambulances and the help that people are receiving. So when Eli came with this idea, it's something that is changing the life in Israel. It is amazing, amazing. Within 20 seconds, you can be the next door and a child is choking, and you can come immediately and save. So many lives have been saved. And thank you, Eli, for your inspiration and doing something so good. Good evening, friends. Good evening, family. I wanted to tell you something. Did you know that way up in the sky, on the surface of the moon, there is a sign in Hebrew? No? Well, it's true. The sign is small, but it carries 3 big words: Am Israel Chai. The nation of Israel lives on. The Jewish people lives on. I had those words inscribed on Israel's lunar lander Bereshit, which was launched in 2019 and which my beloved husband, Sheldon, and I had the honor of sponsoring with other people. I wanted this immortal message, so optimistic, so defiant, to shine forever upon the earth from the heavens high above. Little did we know that just a few years later, I would hear and see Am Israel Chai every day, constantly. At rallies, on posters, at the bottom of emails, on text messages, and at the conclusion of a conversation. And even here tonight we heard it, Am Israel Chai. Am Israel Chai is the name of a new song by pop star Eyal Golan. It was even uttered by a grieving mother at the funeral of her son, who tragically fell in battle in Gaza Strip. Because, friends, Am Israel Chai has become the rallying cry of an Israel at war. And it might equally be the motto of United Hatzalah and of our remarkable honoree this evening, Michael Milin. The origin of the phrase is unclear, but what is known is that when Bergen-Belsen concentration camp was liberated in 1945, its Jewish former inmate held the first Shabbat service in freedom. The organizer was a British army rabbi, Leslie Hardman. Hearing the survivors sing Hatikva, the national anthem of the soon-to-be reborn Jewish homeland, he was overcome with emotion. Am Israel Chai, Hardman exclaimed spontaneously, and there is even the BBC recording of it. We suffered another kind of Holocaust on October 7th, my friends. But there were those who were not deterred by the Hamas terrorists. There were those who within hours or even minutes rushed to the rescue in the spirit of Am Israel Chai. The volunteer security squads on the kibbutzim, the all-female tank crews that rolled into combat without awaiting orders from above, the civilians who risk everything to ferry people to safety, and just as importantly, the beautiful men and women of United Hatzalah. They didn't seek permission. They didn't pause to think about personal safety. In the middle of a Jewish holiday, they grabbed their medical kits, donned their vests, and boarded ambulances and helicopters to provide assistance in the war zone. Because United Hatzalah literally means saving lives, together, Jews, Christian, Druze, and Muslims, the full cultural mosaic of Israel. We are people that cherish hope and not hatred, that fights for what is right, even if that means fighting alone. And we are privileged to have with us a man who, in his unique way, embodies all of this. For decades now, Michael Milin has channeled his extraordinary business skills and fortune into a quest to defeat the worst disease. It began, like so many Jewish stories, with a touch of tragedy. When Michael learned that his mother-in-law had breast cancer, he decided to expand the reach of medical research and one day to find a cure. Michael's determination only increased when he himself was diagnosed with prostate cancer. When other men would have collapsed, Michael rose to these challenges through his foundations and initiatives. He has gifted countless people with longer lives. And he has helped to make them happier lives by encouraging better educational systems and greater economic opportunities throughout the world. Michael has never lost sight of his Jewish roots. His family was among the first to support Ariel in the heart of the Shomron, Samaria, where Sheldon and I later established a medical school. Because the nation of Israel is eternal thanks to its glorious history, not just its dynamic present and its dazzling future. Because in Michael, as in each and every one of us, there is a divine spark that can grow into a great light and banish the dark. Michael, my dear friend, thank you for all you have done. And thank you for what you will yet do. Michael, you are Am Israel Chai.